few months ago, I found myself home alone. I live in a 3-floor apartment building without an elevator, so reaching the 3rd floor means taking the stairs. It was midday, and my mom was picking up my sister from school. This meant I had to receive the man who regularly delivered water containers every Thursday. Typically, he would arrive by 2 p.m., as my mom had instructed. However, on this particular day, he showed up at noon. When he rang the doorbell, I informed him through the intercom that we needed 2 containers and headed downstairs. The building had a long hallway leading to the front door. I greeted him, and he responded with a somewhat amused hello. Small talk ensued as I handed him the money. He insisted on taking the containers upstairs, although I assured him I could manage. While climbing the stairs, he began asking me personal questions, like my age and why I wasn't at school. Red flags were immediately raised. I responded that I was about to leave for work, not school. I felt uncomfortable and vulnerable. He placed the containers in front of my door, and I suggested walking him back to the downstairs door. His response was both creepy and infuriating. "Oh, I wouldn't mind being stuck here with you." As if that wasn't creepy enough, he asked about my mom's whereabouts. I lied, telling him she was inside helping my dad. This man was old enough to be my dad, yet he was hitting on a woman he assumed was a schoolgirl. The walk down that long hallway felt like the slowest I've ever had. I couldn't wait for him to leave. I was shocked, angry, and felt violated. As I bid him farewell, he dared to give me an uncomfortable hug, and I hastily shut the door in his face. I sprinted inside, yet I didn't feel entirely safe. As I turned on the shower tap, the doorbell rang, not just once, but 5 times. The ringing came from the upstairs door, not the one downstairs. I locked myself in the bathroom until my mom returned. When I finally shared what had happened, my mom initially dismissed my concerns. I was both angry and disappointed. Later that night, she admitted I was right, acknowledging that a middle-aged man with good intentions wouldn't behave that way. Despite my mom's warnings, the man continues to show up every Thursday at noon, even though no one is home. When I was around 12 years old, a peculiar incident occurred one night at my house. My dad worked the graveyard shift, and since it was the weekend, I had stayed up late. It was somewhere between midnight and 1 a.m. when my dad instructed me to lock the doors and go to sleep. I obeyed, went to my room, and drifted off to sleep. However, about an hour later, around 2 a.m., I was awakened by knocking on our back door. It startled me, and after a moment of processing, I assumed it might be my dad, perhaps having forgotten something. I was too tired to get up, thinking he had his house key, so I didn't respond. The knocking continued, which was becoming increasingly eerie. To my surprise, the knocking then shifted to a different location, the kitchen window. I still believed it was my dad, but now I couldn't understand why he didn't just use his key to enter. This persistent knocking became quite creepy. As it moved to another window, closer to my bedroom, I became terrified. I was too scared to check who was outside. The knocking didn't stop, and at one point, it became more forceful. That's when I realized I couldn't move. I was paralyzed by fear. I couldn't scream, talk, or even move a muscle. My heart sank as the knocking neared my bedroom window, which had transparent curtains. My eyes widened as I saw a tall man with a dark ski mask peering through. He appeared to have a skeleton design on the mask. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. I shut my eyes, repeatedly telling myself it wasn't real. When I opened my eyes, he was gone, and the terror subsided. I couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. I had never experienced sleep paralysis before, and this felt all too real. I still don't know what happened, but I hope never to experience it again. The next morning, I asked my dad if he had returned earlier and knocked on the doors and windows, but he hadn't. Several years ago, I lived with my ex-boyfriend in a 2-bedroom house we had recently moved into. We had converted the back bedroom into an office since the only bathroom in the house was accessible through that room. Occasionally, friends would stay over on our sofa, and we didn't want them walking through our bedroom in the middle of the night. About a month after moving in, my ex was out with colleagues, leaving me home alone. I spent the evening watching TV and eating takeout. I heard strange noises a couple of times, but they always stopped when I tried to identify them. As the night progressed, I decided to head upstairs and use the computer before bed. At that time, we had no phone line installed, and I was using a pay-as-you-go phone that had run out of credit, leaving me with no way to communicate with anyone while in the house. Sitting in the back bedroom with only a faint table lamp, I heard the mysterious noises again, faint rattling. It was so subtle that I questioned if I was hearing things. I turned off my music and tried to figure out the source of the noise. I checked our bedroom, and there was no one at the front door. Returning to the back bedroom, I tried to look outside but couldn't see much due to the dark yard. I heard another eerie screeching sound, like metal on metal, faint, but as if someone was trying to be discreet. By this point, I was getting seriously unnerved. I went back to the bedroom to retrieve a heavy iron rod we had found in the wardrobe. I didn't turn on any lights to avoid alerting any potential intruders. I locked myself in the back bedroom, bolted the door, and wedged a chair under the handle. After a tense 20 minutes, I heard whispering, 2 male voices. Although I couldn't make out their words, I could tell they weren't inside the house. The voices seemed to be coming from outside, through the open window. I went into the bathroom to get a better look into the alley behind the house. The bathroom formed an L shape around the yard, and I climbed onto the ledge to peer outside. I couldn't see much, but the whispering grew louder and seemed to originate from just behind my gate. I heard grumbling and cursing, followed by footsteps hurrying down the alley. I remained locked in the bedroom until my ex-boyfriend returned around 4 a.m. That night, I didn't sleep a wink. In the morning, I discovered that my gate had been tampered with and could now be easily accessed from the alley. Scratches on the keyhole indicated someone had attempted to force the lock. If not for the intervention of the neighbors with the floodlight, I shudder to think what might have happened.